Hello everyone, this is Broas of the Halodoc Bro signing in. I'm going to be doing another figure unboxing today. As you see, I have Figma 349, Samus Aran Metroid Prime version, or Prime 3 version, I should say. I've got to switch my lighting around a whole lot just because it's really hard to see into this box. But let me just switch the first one. We're going to do this, and I have some of the older boxes. I want to do a direct comparison. I'm not going to do a direct comparison to Zero Suit Samus here from Metroid Other M. I haven't actually opened it yet. I got it months ago, and I was just too busy with classes to open it up. That's going to be a future video. But I do have, and this is the more important one in my opinion, I have Samus Aran from Metroid Other M, and I actually have the Figma from that as well. And I can't wait, because I really want to do a direct comparison. I'm having trouble standing her up. Do a direct comparison between the Other M version and the Metroid Prime 3 Corruption version. But I'm going to move these off to the side just for a smidge. We're going to take a quick look, actually, and I'm going to look at the box first. Move this off to the side. So let's see. Top of the box looks like so. Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. We have the front, as I was showing, Figma 349 Prime 3 version. The kind of like crouched view. Let's take a look at the side. This whole thumbs up thing. This was one of the pictures I remember when I bought it, or when I saw the original profile on Good Smile Company's website. And then just kind of a pose, I guess. And then the back, let's take a look if there's any I want to actually... Like, the crouching ones are always my favorite. I don't know, like this walking away, waving goodbye. The sprinting one looks really cool. I'm going to try and aim for those three mostly. But let's get her open and take a quick look. And I'm going to do the comparison first just because I want to see what's going on and how the sizes compare. I also have a ton of awesome beams because from initial look, I don't see any beams in here for the Metroid Prime 3 Corruption version. But I do have the beams for the original one right here and here. And I also had, years ago, I had a bunch of custom beams made. Like this, and so on and so forth. That was done by Can of Beams. I believe that they do more of like an eBay order now, as opposed to direct ordering. But I'm going to put those and plug them in here. And I have just a handful more than that. We're just going to take a quick look and see how both of them compare and how these beams fit into the arm, if they even do fit. So let's get the box open. And part of the reason I do this is because I want to know how to box it back up if I move or do anything like that. And I really just want to get Samus exposed to the light from this box just because it's, like I said, it just seems to absorb all light, and my lighting isn't too great. And I'm having the hardest time actually having a good look at her. Actually, I'm going to move the box off to the side since we've already viewed it. So this is what the Figma looks like in the packaging. So we've got the thumbs up hand, two other hands. We have a replacement beam. I'm not quite sure what that will be for. I'm sure I'll figure it out, or if I look at the instructions. We got her morph ball, and once again, like, it looks like it's actually a smidge bigger than the previous one. I'm gonna get them all open, and we'll do a direct size comparison and the Figma itself. But let's open it up. Let's see what happens. I'll actually set my camera down. All right. So the Figma herself, if I can get a good grip. Quite lanky, quite tall. Stand up on her own without the use of the stand. Actually does quite well. Head moves up and down, shoulder joint. So the beam looks like it would be fairly similar. Let me switch my lighting to make sure real quickly here. Make sure we can actually see inside. So the holes do roughly look about the same size. So the beam should be able to carry over and work. So this should actually work quite well. Let's keep going. Oh, cool. Oh, there's kind of a weird... I don't know how to explain this. Like, it's not... Because there's an ankle joint that's separate right here. But then there's one that twists on the foot right here, up and down. And it's on both feet. So, and then there's the toe. There's this one that twists right here. And then there's one at the ankle. So that's a lot of movement on just the feet alone. But standard knee joints, knee joint, hip joint, waist joint. Alright, let's put her down for right now and just take a look at the rest of the stuff. If I can get the hand, so this hand I'm going to gamble just out like that. Let's see if I can, and it's probably just move the hand over, puts on the gun like that, something along those lines. let's put this hand off to the side. Let's take a look at the, so we just got the thumbs up. It's kind of silly, but, and then we've got another hand that, it looks like it can grip things. So all of them, so all the hands are replace the left hand here, because none of them will go in. I mean, this beam stays on constantly. It doesn't move. It doesn't go anywhere. That's that. Let's take a look at this. This is, I'm not sure if this, this probably pops off right here. I figured that without even looking at the directions. Pops right off, and then this is this a replacement, or does it go on like this? It looks like this should slide right in there. It's a little bit of trouble, but there we go. So we have a separate beam. I'm just going to change my lighting a bit too, just so we can see this a bit better. Separate beam. I'll leave that on for the time being. And then lastly, there is the morph ball. And alright, let's just take a quick look at what else. Besides the hands that are in there, if there's any extra hands, which there are not, it is just a bag filled with the stand, the arm, and the adapter to the stand right here. Or the adapter to the arm right here. And last thing, and then, the bag. I moved that off to the side. Bag. And lastly, let's take a look. So we have English instructions. Super easy to read, or I shouldn't say super easy to read, or easy for me to read. But there's really not much going on. And then the Japanese side is the exact same. And that's about it. I'm going to move on. I'm going to get this all cleaned up, and we'll do a direct comparison and see how tall they are and how the beams actually fit into their arms. So here's the direct comparison of them side by side. As we see with the Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, the gun is a little bit bigger, and I believe they're roughly about the same height. They have that same, the jetpack behind them. Not jetpack, but just the, I cannot remember what the device is on the back of it for the life of me. But they are roughly about the same height, although overall the Metroid Prime 3 Corruption one is pretty bulky. Definitely a bit bigger. So like this one's a bit sleeker. The Metroid Other M version is a little bit sleeker, and this one is a bit bigger. The also has the big kind of ridges, we'll say, on the shoulder pads / the morph ball, parts of the morph ball. Just one thing I forgot to go over at the very beginning. So Metroid Prime 3, this one, Metroid Prime 3 Corruption takes place before Metroid Prime, or Metroid 2, Samus Returns, and Super Metroid, whereas Metroid Other M takes place directly after Super Metroid, but before Metroid Fusion. So this one is actually the previous one, and this one is the one afterward. I'm just going to keep doing a spin. So they have the same, we'll say the knee, knee spikes, and the same with the ankle spikes that stick out of the boot. This one also has the ankles that move left and right, not based on the ankle, but the foot that moves left and right. So there's some good articulation there. And then, as for the balls themselves, this is the original one. Or, I'm sorry, this is the Prime 3 Corruption one. We'll put that in front for back a bit. And then this is the Metroid Other M version. I'm going to change my lighting really quickly. And, as you can see, they are... I'm trying to line them up like that. This one is a little bit smaller, but then, once again, with the sleeker figure, I guess that's not necessarily unprecedented. And since they are roughly about the same size, I actually thought that out instead of making this one, super huge taller. Maybe, I don't know, maybe a millimeter or two taller. I don't have her standing straight up. Yeah, they're roughly about the same height. But there's a comparison on those. And I actually found it really funny because I didn't even check, but both of them have a thumbs up hand. And I should have thought of that ahead of time. I should have thought of that before I started doing the comparison, but they both have a goofy thumbs up hand. So there's that. I'm going to start putting some beams in though, and we'll take a quick look. So these are actually I'll try and put them in right now. So these are the original beams that came with Metroid Other M. We're going to tilt their guns down. And so let's see if this pops right in. I'm assuming it does. It does not. It takes a little bit of force, but getting on this took a little bit of force too. So I don't know if maybe there's some issues with the plastic when they were putting it together or something, but for the most part, after a little bit of effort, trying to not make that evil noise. All right, so we'll pull this off and we'll just take a quick look. Can I fit it in there? So it was just spinning before. Okay, so it is finally fitting on there. I'm assuming the beams are different. It makes that awful noise. And then this one, of course, should pop right in, I think. Yeah, that one just pops right in. So this one took a little bit of effort. And let's put that back. But overall, like move the arm across. The beam does fit. I'm wondering if my separate ones, the other ones that I have, are going to fit. I'll go over those in just a second, but for the most part, it seems like the other M beams will fit in Metroid Prime 3 Corruption Samus's arm gun. So there's my two. I put beams in. I managed to fit this one in. This one actually would not fit in very well, and I didn't want to force it, so I just put it in just to show off on Samus here. But this one fit just fine, and it looks like they're at a weird angle because I do have to tilt them back to balance the really heavy beams. I'm going to just go and swap out a couple more. I did a couple that were, I can't remember what the purple one was, but I did this based on the Super Beam from the end of Super Metroid. That's what the look I was trying to go for with that one. And then, because that one looks absolutely awesome, I think. This one is supposed to be the Spazzer, the triple beam. And then I also did it didn't work out exactly like I wanted to, but I mean, yeah, this is more the grappling hook. And actually, you can see it goes way up there. And you definitely need the base because they're going to keep tilting forward, or you have to tilt it back like this one where I did to keep her from falling over. Let's do this last one. This was more of meant to be an ice beam, but this one also fits in there quite well. So if they fit in this one, if you had custom beams before, I don't know how many people actually did that. Mine were really custom. But if they fit in this one, they're going to fit in this one. Just same with these older ones. It just takes a little bit of effort, like as you heard the awful noises of me trying to get them in there. But for the most part, these turned out really, really, really well. I actually really like these. And they fit really well into this one as well. So they didn't change the size specifications too much. I'm going to do a couple poses, definitely with this. I'm going to do this goofy thumbs up one. I'm going to try to. And we'll go from there. I'm going to pull these beams out. So I set them up in kind of, I'll say, a buddy cop pose. I was hoping that they kind of balance off of each other, but they do still stand up well on their own. One other point of comparison that I came across while doing this is this head will barely turn. I don't want to move them too much, but this head has quite a bit more movement. But this one is really limited. In fact, if I turned it any farther than that, it popped right out of the socket, which is kind of frustrating. But overall, as I'm doing this comparison more and more, I do still really like the older Other M. I like the sleeker version, but this one is certainly a good comparison. The one thing I also noticed as I was going through is I have the thing for the hands for the Metroid Other M Samus, but I don't have anything like that for the other one. It's just they just give you 3 hands, and they fit there inside the box as I showed at the beginning. I'm going to keep moving through and just probably focus on the other Samus now, or not the other Samus, but the Metroid Prime 3 Corruption Samus, and just do a couple more poses like that, just to see the posability we can get out of her. As you can see, I've put Samus now into we'll call it the sprinting pose. I'm going to zoom in real quickly, but it's the pose that's right there at the top. But looks really nice. I'm going to do a little spin as well from around the camera. But I really like that the posability of the stands, because as you can see, it's completely off center, I'll say, but it's definitely not directly underneath her or anything like that. It actually works quite well, and you definitely need the little piece right there that attaches to the arm itself. But that worked out quite well, and this actually shows the posability. Usually the arms, you don't pose them so much, but this actually shows some of the posability of the arms of the arms attached to the stand. And I actually really ended up liking this. I'm probably not going to leave it like this, but I do still really this. Turned out quite well. I thought it was going to be a little silly, but it ended up much better than I anticipated. I'm going to move on to another couple shots and finish up. Probably do 2 more poses, and we'll wrap this up. For this next pose, I decided to go with kind of the walking away Samus, and she blends in with the box so well, but it's this one right here. I decided to try and attempt that, but the thing is, on the box they don't have her on a with the stand, but in this I kind of had to. I couldn't balance her very well. I couldn't get her to stand upright. It was like with the kind of leaning forward that they had her doing, it made it a really kind of challenging to get her to walk. But other than that, I mean, it turned out quite well, and it just once again emphasizes the posability, and then also adds more emphasis to the like her backside and the things that are on the backside as opposed to the previous figures, which I didn't see much of. Like, or a lot of Figmas in general, they don't do much from the backside of the figure. You mainly see stuff from the front and from the sides. So actually, I really quite like this. I'm gonna actually move this back, and we'll just do for reference. Let me put it off to the side here, like so. So that is kind of the walking away Samus. And lastly, I'm going to do this, well, as you see, I've put it in the crouching Samus pose. Now, I couldn't get it exactly like it has on the box, which is kind of frustrating. But it just shows some of the other, like, despite how highly articulate the figures are, there's still some limitations. Like, I tried to get this, like, as we can see, I'll zoom in again, like, Samus is looking, like, straight out at us. But I couldn't do that very well without basically hyperextending the neck, and then the neck is just looking really weird now. It's like she's got like some. I mean, I know the I can't remember the bird people that she's with, the Chozos, but it's like she's got this long elongated neck now, which is just really strange. In order to get her to look up, and then you can see the limitations of this piece. This piece keeps falling out, and you can see the. I can't I'm trying to get my light in there, but you can see you can actually see the joint there. And this also exposes quite a lot of the joints as well, but it's still really articulate, but I can't get the pose properly, and it's just because mainly there's no, I don't want to say there's not a decent neck one, I guess, but overall still turned out really well. Like, the arms are still really articulate despite the big bulky parts of the morph ball on there. Turned out really well despite the limitations. But that is my unboxing of Figma. We're going to go over it again. Figma 349, Samus Aran, Metroid Prime 3 Corruption version. Thank you guys for watching. This is Bro S of the Halodoc Bros. Peace out.